Hey guys, back at the shop again. This is another short informational technical service bulletin, I guess I'll call them, about flat-faced versus dished valves. Okay, now when I was searching for valves for this, I looked around a bit and I came to find, you know, Ferrea, of course. That's who I ended up using. It is their 5000 series, which is their budget, like bottom tier, quote unquote, valve series. That doesn't mean that they're bad quality. It just means that that's their like base entry level valve. They're stainless steel. They're perfectly fine for what I'm doing. If I was pushing 1000 horsepower or making like a super 800 plus or whatever, I might go up to their 6000 or the level above that where they get into, it's almost custom at that point. They use all different materials and it's really exceptionally made well. Now, why am I saying all this? So I asked them about the flat face valves because their 5000 series are flat face from what I can tell. And originally they didn't have a flat face valve for everybody, and people kept calling and asking for them, and they were like, all right, fine, we'll make some, right? And the reason that they didn't have any flat face valves before is because in a valve train, adding weight is not a good idea, right? That's more reciprocating inertia. Reciprocating might not be the right word. That's more inertia weight for the valve moving up and down, right? That's more inertia and weight for the springs to deal with, which puts more stress on those, puts more stress on your retainers. It essentially requires more horsepower to make them do their thing because the cams now have to push harder to make everything move. It's just, you want to reduce that as much as you can. You get more power. I mean, even if it's minute, you probably lose less power from it. It's better for wear on the parts. It wears less. Better all around, right? So when you put a flat-faced valve onto something with the idea of like, I'm going to raise compression, might not exactly be the best idea depending on what you're going after. Especially if you don't want to raise compression because you're boosting. But anyway, I called Ferrea about this, right? Called them and asked. And they sort of, walked me through all of that. And people always think that it's just the dish that is what... Here we go. People always think that it's just the dish in the valve that is what would, add or lower compression. And yes, that's part of it. But realistically, the other part of it that the dish doesn't account for is if you have a valve seat, right? Where's my where did I put that? Okay, we'll use my retainer or my timing belt tensioner here. So if you have a valve sitting on the seat, right, and the valve would go up and down, okay, you notice how this actually has a lip of it sticking up above essentially the seat that it sits on? How far the valve naturally protrudes from the seat. Like, let's say this is where that sat normally, or this is where that sat normally, and like, instead of here, right? And essentially the face of the valve was just thicker and thicker and thicker. That will actually make a huge difference in the amount of combustion chamber space you lose or gain with a valve. That is probably much bigger of a difference than the dish itself, because the dish is the size of the fingerprint of mine here, and the valve itself is larger than my thumb. So total surface area over that entire thing moved up a millimeter or half a millimeter compared to the size of a dish, which is like just the very tip of my fingerprint. That's going to make a bigger difference. I actually had the shop that did this. They CC'd this for me with the stock valves after they did a valve job. With the stock valves in here, it was 56 cc's With the flat face valves, it was 54 cc, so it's about 2 cc difference. But you know, just the important thing is to understand where that comes from. So it's the dish and how far the valve actually sticks out into the chamber. And if you can help it, you want to reduce the mass of your valves, not add to them. So if you're really desperate for compression and it's just an NA build, or it's just an NA build and you're not going to make 500 horsepower, yeah, you can get the flat face. It's whatever, that's fine. But just know what you're doing. And I wanted to have this be informative and help some people out. So from me to you, go stick or go home. Catch you guys next time.